Good day, brethren. The article which I have written and which I am going to read to you now is titled Understanding the Connotation Freemasonry. Freemasonry is stated to be a peculiar system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. But let us now examine that statement with a view to finding out just what is meant by the axiom and how it arose. Keeping in view the phrase, a peculiar system of morality, we find that the word principles have changed with the passing of time, and the word peculiar in this sense means particular or special. The morality in question has its roots in a philosophy and a code inspired by the Bible as a whole. In medieval periods, skilled craftsmen in various trades grouped together to protect their crafts and permitted only those who had been trained, taught, proved, and trusted to pursue their skills. It was a means to prohibit pirates from producing inferior work and thus betray the trust of the architect or the master, for whom the work is being carried out. From such early controlled development escalated in the 14th to the 17th centuries, and there is ample evidence in both England and Scotland that such a trade control included instruction in matters beyond their crafts and skills. The craftsman is expected to be true and just to his master in all his dealings, both in word and deed. He must not only keep his hands from picking and stealing, and his tongue from lying and slandering. He must also abstain from doing him any manner of injury by idleness, negligence, or carelessness. He should not deceive or defame his master or do any kind of evil speaking, but he must learn and labor to do him a true and real service. He shall conceal the particular secrets of his art, trade, or science without divulging or making anyone knowledgeable about them to the disadvantage of his master, whose interest may very much depend on a peculiar management and knowledge of his business. Thus, he should serve his master with loyalty and reliability. This brings about his glory and perfection as a servant, the lack of which bring him dishonor and disreputation. Now let us turn to assess what the term veiled in allegory may mean. An allegory is a narrative description of a subject under guise of another suggestively similar. That is, it is a story in which the characters are symbols. For instance, an imprudent reader may start reading a storybook by thinking that he is reading a novel. However, proceeding for some time, it may dawn to him that he is reading about something quite different from what he thought that he is being preached at in indirect way. Allegory always strives to combine entertainment with instruction. As a teaching method, it is sanctioned by long usage. Aesop's fables, Panchatantra, etc., that their moral lessons are nothing but allegories. Thereafter, we may try to understand why our Masonic teachings are illustrated by symbols. We may to comprehend the utility of using symbols. When a brother recites the traditional history or explains the dressing board, if we are listening, that narration comes to life in our minds. So language itself is a very effective symbol. So why don't we simply illustrate our system of morality using plain statements of truth? Well, when you define something in words, you also place limits on it. Let's use a simple parable to explain. Let us consider subject algebra to explain the fact. Algebra uses a symbol for a symbol by expressing quantities as letters instead of numbers. In the algebraic equation x plus y equal to z, any quantity may be assigned to anyone or any two of the letters, and the question can still be true. Thus, for x plus y equal to 10 to be true, x can be any number from 1 to 10, but note that by replacing just one symbol with a known quantity, therefore defining it, we may have already limited the equation. If we go a step further and replace a second symbol, and we have two defined quantities, let us say x equal to 1, this creates the expression 1 plus y equal to 10. And the necessity for y as a symbol completely disappears. It can only equal 9. Hence, it is observed that the definition of symbols by words limits its scope, which symbols do not do it themselves, as long they are treated as symbols. Symbols create a much wider scope in explaining a subject much better than words. By using symbols, we are carrying on a long tradition of this teaching method. Symbols have been used in Masonic rituals, partly to conceal the teachings and partly to express ideas, giving wider scope of explanation, so that undue limits to their interpretation may not be able to create rigid Masonic beliefs. Each Freemason has the freedom to interpret the rituals through the symbols in his own justified way. Thus, according to late Jacob Taché, a noted Masonic historian, Freemasonry permits each individual to interpret and apply the lessons of the craft as he sees best. It is this unique spirit of tolerance and freedom which frequently confuses opponents of the fraternity, and at times some of us within the fraternity too. One Mason places his interpretation upon a certain symbol or attribute of Freemasonry. Another may take an entirely different view and will cite evidence with which a third may be in entire variance. Yet these three men can gather about our altars and labor together in perfect amity. Hence, Freemasonry gives all men with divergent views the opportunity to come together and work unitedly, holding each other's hands as brothers for the cause of welfare of men under the principle of one fatherhood of all God's children. Thank you.